Hi everybody, I'm Mahin, and this is your Saturday strength for the daily Bellydance Quickies, and it is also another edition of Rocks Me a Question. So our question today is coming from Kelly, and she asks how to practice and dance and continue to learn with dancing while you are recuperating from an injury. Now this is a really important question, and one that unfortunately a lot of dancers have to face at some point in their careers. First off, it's really important that when we have an injury that we do take time off, and this is really, really hard. I think the hardest prescription for any dancer to take from their physical therapist or from their doctor or surgeon or whoever is to not dance or to not be active, because we just naturally want to be up and moving and going to class and going to rehearsals and being productive. So to be told that we have to just sit it out for a while is very frustrating, and a lot of times dancers don't follow this advice from their health professionals. Now, the problem with not following that advice is that it's going to either make an injury worse, or it could prolong the healing process and make it even longer that you're going to be forced to be out, or to not heal up in a proper way that's going to cause you a chronic problem even after the acute problem is mostly healed. So following this advice, as hard as it is to take, is really important. But if we are creative and we kind of think outside the box a little bit, we can keep our bodies and our minds as active as possible while we're letting the parts of our bodies that need to be resting do their job. So let's talk about that. Let's go over a couple examples of how we can work around an injury. Let's say you have either a foot, a knee, or a hip injury, something that keeps you from being weight-bearing. So probably going to class is not going to be very useful for you in this case. But since you're stuck home and you can't be moving around too much, doesn't mean you can't practice. You can still practice lots of nice clean chest isolations. You can practice really wonderful fluid arm movement, working on that really well. Hand gestures, hand positions, and nice transitions with your hands. And anyone who has followed me for any length of time knows what I'm going to say next. You can practice your zills. So that's another good one. Let's look at another example. Maybe you've injured your shoulder. That's another really common one, especially for women over 40. Frozen shoulder syndrome is something that happens to a lot of people. So if you have injured your shoulder, then you're going to be probably okay from the waist down, and you can probably still even go to class. Just keep your arms down. I don't recommend putting one good arm up and putting the other arm down, because that's going to throw off your balance. It's going to throw off the alignment in the middle of your body, which is really so important for so many things we do. So keep them both down in a nice, comfortable, graceful position. Work on that posture up through the spine. Work on your hip work. Work on your traveling if the arms are not going to be a hindrance to doing that. And if you still want to practice your zills, then you can always practice them in a low position as well. So that's another thing that will work for you. Unfortunately, having a back injury is probably one of those prohibitive of injuries to be working around, because if you have an injury in the muscles of your back or in the discs or in the vertebrae themselves, then this can really affect your upper body movement and your lower body movement, and maybe even your ability to stand for long periods of time with good posture. So this is probably one of the most difficult ones to work around. You can, in some cases, if your doctor and physical therapist say it's okay, and if it isn't causing you pain, perhaps do some lying ab work, things not like crunches or anything like that, but things like belly rolls or flutters if they're not causing you pain. And definitely you'd want to go ahead and consult with whoever is taking care of you to make sure that that's not going to be an issue for you. Your body's going to give you a clue about whether you should be talking to them or not about this. So that's one thing that you can do, and of course you can always practice your zills. And if you're really flat on your back with a back injury for a while, then you can always do things like watching clips of styles that you're interested in researching. You can always do some reading. There are plenty of really great belly dance books that have come out. Morocco's belly dance book, Ask Aunt Rocky, is just big and thick. So if you're down on your back for a while, that's a great way to keep yourself occupied. And Princess Farhana's book as well, both really good reads. So if you can't satisfy your belly dance fix by moving, you can certainly satisfy it with some reading and some studying and some watching. This is also a really great time to take advantage of the fact that you can't do anything else, or at least console yourself with a lot of new music. Listen to lots of things you haven't had a chance to listen to before. Do some listening exercises, things like listening for the rhythms, practice some rhythm identification, practice some instrument identification, doing some kind of visualization exercises with the music, and with maybe even a little bit of imaginary in your head improvisation. It's a good time to do things like that as well. All of these things are really valuable for growing your dance in the long term, and hopefully some things that even when you're back on your feet, that you will keep in your kind of schedule of how you feed your dancing self and your dancing brain. So those are some more ideas. Well, I hope you never have to use any of this information, and I hope that you dance a long time without any injuries. But if for some reason that you are down with some body part that's just not down with your dancing for a little while, then remember to just go ahead and give yourself some time. It's really important not to rush your healing and not to push yourself too hard, too fast when you're coming back. If you are coming back from an injury and you're in class, you have to listen to your own body first of all, even before you listen to what any instructor tells you. And always please remember that if any instructor ever tells you to do something counter to what your doctor or your physical therapist has said, then you need to not listen. And with all due respect to your instructor, you need to listen to your healthcare providers. They're the ones who know the most about your condition. And pushing through the pain is not always the best thing. Personally, I would say the only person I would ever take that advice from would be a physical therapist who was personally managing my recovery and my rehab. And that's the only person that I would let tell me, do it even if it hurts. So I hope that you can take those words to heart, and I hope that, again, that you never have to use any of this information. So Kelly, there's your answer, and hope a lot of others of you have gotten some ideas maybe to add to your practice if you're feeling a little limited right now. And that's all I have for you today. So I am 14 days away from taking off for the DBQ road trip. I hope to see many of you out there in northern Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. And in August, I'm coming to upstate New York and to Philadelphia, my hometown. I can't wait to go back. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye. Oh, Mr. Monkey says bye too. Have a good weekend.